I entered the train and sat by the window seat. As my fellow passengers, all strangers to me, arrived in the place where I had been, sat into their selected seats. Strange, I thought, how each of them filed in, lived in the same location as me, yet I could say to have known none of them. And yet, they could be neighbours, shop owners, fellow workmates. What a strange and separate life we all lead, and now brought together to become even more of a stranger, as we're forced to sit by each other, side by side, not speaking a word, nervously taking a sly glance, only to as quick as the journey's ended to part once again, and maybe even when returning to pass in the street and not even recognize or know where we have met. Once again, the perfect strangers we become. The train began to move, and slowly we crept out of the steel, metal, concrete jungle of London, the thick, invisible air pollution slowly being sucked back out of our lungs, as we moved to the more pleasant and green countryside, and slowly the view changed from a hell to a paradise, from London's filth and grime to the beauteous fields of yellow and green of nature, of a place less oft visited with the detraction of money. As each scene passed fast by the window pane I looked into, like a movie camera image flicking onto a screen, I looked deep within each scene, saw the yellow golden fields appear, and drifted off into a dream. I saw myself running hand in hand with a fair maiden, whose wide, love-lorn eyes gazed into mine. With every glimpse of her sweet face, her engaging eyes, I felt like the flower sucking up the rays of the sun, as if I could produce from my hand a many-coloured flower, and each petal I, the dreamer, would dissect, splintering above like a firework, and drift down upon the countryside like a painter paints upon a canvas from high to low. As each field I looked upon, it was her strange eyes I delved into. Where had I imagined her from? Was she in fact a maiden from the real world, or maybe my fantasy? Or was she a fuse from one to the other? Did I look upon her upon streets, watching her pass my world day after day, never approaching her, telling her how I felt, and improving her character, making it up till it fitted the mould I sought, in my fantasy dream-like state, and daydream each day by and by with a woman in real I could never speak unto, who I would have to make do, only in my head. As each field approached, even the small brook where the train stopped, I saw the white splash of the water canvas the hard black rocks that made up the side of the brook. As the stream broke across the naked legs of a woman, her skirt lifted to allow the water to spread between her toes, as the man near her looked upon them, as if he was sifting for gold in that sea. But it was merely the most beautiful sight in the world to any lover, his fellow lover. There they dived into the river, fully clothed, embracing one another, and continually did as the train moved on to another destination. How I thought love was, that amazing substance that has no fabric to it, yet it is something that every man and woman with any soul dreams and desires of, and mostly never comes to grips with. Love, the endless and greatest mission of humanity, the only free thing allowed to blossom, although often abused, that thing that God gave upon every man and woman to possess. The other people aboard the train look at me, the passenger upon this train, upon this path of life, the journey of a lifetime, born to pass it through all sorts of trials and tribulations, mostly alone, always wanting a heart filled, always wanting more, never getting enough. The disabled man in the corner dribbles on his hand as he tries to ingest some sips of cold tea his care has left for him, and his sad forlorn eyes gaze into mine, and we share a look we both know so well. For his disability is for all to see, whereas mine is deeply hidden. For each man and woman, whether they know it or not, are all disabled in one way or another, not just physically, but mentally, morally, spiritually, emotionally. There are many invisible disabilities that curse us all, and little are they understood by uncaring men and women who have the lesser debilitating disability. They mock those less fortunate than them. When they have love, when they have wealth and happiness, and all the things us disabled people can't even aspire to ever having, and the nearest we come to it is meeting those lucky enough to already possess it. The disabled man opens his mouth and splutters words out, which I make out as, "Why should wanting something simple hurt so much. Wise his words cut through my heart of truth, and make me weep a solitary tear of recognition of the very truth this disabled man speaks. For the dreams we all want, to hold a lover in our hands, to kiss each night the girl of our dreams, to have our wanting look each day for more, then could be given in a lifetime such a simple thing as love, made more complicated by the world's evil ways. Such a simple thing to be denied, such a thing denied that can hurt so much. Hurting much more than its absence, and yet to have hold of true love, then every malady becomes an ease, like breathing to be done. But when you have no love by your side, when your shadow is your own company in the darkness at night, and only the moon shines to lighten your way, then every malady is like dying over and over again, so terribly hard. In the train station, the train stops upon the station upon a hilltop, and there at the station's post, where the sea meets the land, is a woman standing old, looking out to the sea. Maybe she's imagining the love that died, that she comes to remember at the spot where they first met. She feels the same air brush by her hair over and over again, as if it was yesterday. But now it's today, and the same sea breeze smell only reminds her of a time she can no longer hold on to. She weeps uncontrollably, her knees weaken to the floor, her hands bang on the wall as she wails for the man she fell in love with, who she stood by for nearly 60 years, but now he's gone, and she's so terribly alone. Did they meet there, or did he die there? Maybe this was the last place she saw him alive, and she's reliving the moment he slid from the rocks into the sea, and left his life behind him, not able to take any more. What unhappiness took place where the land meets the sea for this old lady, who is the only survivor of this sadness that robs her too now of the life she leads?